Hey everyone, Sly47 here. Welcome to the beginning of my Advanced CV podcast series. I've asked a few CV mains to jump on voice chat with me and answer some questions on their favorite carrier in World of Warships Blitz. Today I have Mr. Mime joining us to talk about everything Japanese carriers. Mr. Mime, how are you doing?
Hello. How's everyone doing?
And see, he's probably doing fine. So we are talking about the Hakuyu line specifically, and I think first things first, I kind of want to always talk about with any of the CV mains is what draws you specifically to play this CV. Well, like what makes you want to go and play the Haku of like any of the part of the line or any premiums?
Well, it's essentially I was a BB main, then I'm just watching my teammates fail. But then I got into touch with the carrier line, and I thought, ooh, it's quite fun. And for like a year or so, I'm just stuck at being average. But then I met another CD mate who taught me actually how to play this line, and that's how I got good in this line.
Gotcha. On the grind for anyone who is looking to kind of get their teeth into and actually start to play this after this podcast that they hear, any highs and lows, or is the grind just pretty good overall? Like, how would you say it?
Mm, Until tier 7, the grind is kind of rough because Osho is just kind of, yeah, it's low tier, it's kind of meh. So it was a lot of fun, I
Okay.
have to admit, because you can actually farm a lot of fights. Though,
Okay.
like, until tier 7, you just like the torpedo power, unlike high tiers. Rejuice still kind of meh, but at least it has fighters, so you have the time to actually practice on how to do the fighter management.
Okay. And
And then
where? Oh, sorry. I thought you were done. Go. Continue.
here you will be rough because, well, Saipan and Rob Summons just gonna bully you to hell because your fighters are not good enough, and you can do absolutely nothing against a Kaga because your fighters aren't good enough.
Okay. And
Shukaku's
you're still
yeah,
going. Sorry,
Shukaku's a
I'm an
solid
asshole.
one. Shukaku's really solid, and frankly, is one of the best among all the take carries because you actually have more torpedo ones now, which, by the way, you should acknowledge these are the main strength of the entire line. They do a shit ton of damage. Taiho is just even better, but it could be a little bit rough because you'll be facing Titans, and with all the Hallands, Schmallens, and Ragnars around, yeah, have fun. Haku can at least Haku is just so good. You can actually throw enough shit onto them. Though you will lose a few squadrons, but you can absolutely dumpster on them if you're skilled enough.
Okay.
Oh, I have to mention in one of Bob's stream, I dumpster his Ragnar him.
That is one thing
Oh
I will say is Haku. I feel like the Haku is the one
yeah,
CV that if I'm in a DD, I'm concerned
yeah.
early on in game.
Because if they're committed enough, they can absolutely death strike you.
Yep. And for people who don't know what Death Strike is in PC, it's just a complete destroy in I think it's like 5 seconds or
Yeah,
something like that. So
yeah.
they'll do that. So of course, you have plenty of experience with the Haku. What is the most common mistake that you see on either the Hakus that are in your team or on the enemy team when you're playing other ships? What is the most common mistake?
The most common mistake is not managing the fighters. That's the most common mistake I've ever seen on not Haku honestly, but all carriers in general. These well, from my experience in NA, people don't really manage fighters that well. But like, if they just use their fighters, they could be doing a lot for the team. Not only scouting, but actually shooting down the planes. Like you're missing out a lot. Your job is not only scouting, but deny the enemy carrier to attack. But like, I'm just a rough estimate, but 80% of the player base doesn't know how to do it. they're just idling the fighters around.
Yeah, I'm probably pretty.
I'm,
I do
maybe
that.
a little bit too harsh, but that is kind of yeah.
No, and that's this is why I want to do this in the podcast series, is because we do need to understand that, especially when I'm talking to you and talking to 2 or 3 other CV mains that we're talking about, we're talking about the 1% of CV mains that are, when you see this in, Mr. Mime and the few others that I will be interviewing, they are to be feared. They are not just that random CV that, hey, they may launch planes, who knows?
Yeah.
And they will not be sitting in the back corner of the map. They will be advancing with their team and being very close up. So it might sound cocky, it might sound rough, but I think that doing it in this style, I think will help people kind of understand from your perspective on how to play specifically the Haku line a little bit better, to where to focus their weaknesses on. And I think with the fighter idea, the next question is, what's the most common mistake CV players make you see? What are some tips on managing your fighters in a better way that people could learn from you specifically?
It's quite simple. Don't idle them. Keep them moving. It will sound a little bit odd, but just keep them moving. Never idle them. Even when you're controlling other squadrons, don't idle them.
Just constantly have them moving around. Okay.
Now
with the Haku line, I know the planes are quite paper. Is there is there 2 fighter squadrons on the Haku, right?
Yeah, you have 2 fighter squadrons in the Haku.
Do you keep them
and
together?
That actually gives you It depends. It depends.
Yeah.
In the early game, you want them to be grouped together. Because that's when the enemy first strike. Generally, you want to send them straight to the enemy's attack aircraft, like bombers and torpedo bombers. Because Haku actually is quite good fighter attack efficiency. And the more planes you shot down, the more chance of your team can actually dodge the strike and reduce the damage they take.
Very much
like this is, yeah, basically.
Anything else to add on those fighters that you add in tips on?
And if the enemy CV opposed, they will be looking to dogfight. But then you have to pick if you want to sacrifice one squadron or just throw in both squads to dogfight. Because if you're trying to diving through a huge blob of AA, you may just send one squadron to dogfight and let the other squadron to tank the AA, because you can at least deter the enemy carrier from shooting down your attack aircraft.
True.
While keeping another fighter squadron mobile. But if the enemy carrier is clearly dumb, you can just pull the 2 squadrons back and bait them. It's easy.
Fighter baiting is a hard trick. I've been getting better at it, but sometimes it is a finesse. There's finesse to it.
Well, kind of, but yeah, I think that'll be it. Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. Yep, no worries. How would you rank the Haku versus other CVs?
It's definitely one of the best.
Okay.
Like in meta-wise, Malta is still downright broken. Because how brain dead it is.
Yeah, I can concur with that.
You don't even need 2 brains of rub together to farm in that thing. Like the bombers are straight up broken. They just hit E-wave and mid-wave RNG bombs, and they will set fires. Malta torpedoes are quite slow, but if you have cunning, yeah, breaking engines and rudders are no problem.
Now, have you been able to test out the Nakimov at all, or any thoughts on that line coming in?
I don't really think Nakimov will be a meta carrier.
Okay.
Well, yes, it does have a lot of planes, but they have really low health and slow speed. Plus, from what I've experienced, the torpedo alpha is quite tragic, even though you throw a lot of them.
I didn't get that from that. I felt that it was very much kind of felt like a Kaga where it had a lot of alpha, but because you just lost so many planes, it kind of almost
Yeah.
defeated that purpose of it.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Well,
if you have a good
Kaga at least can die through the AA by stacking, but Nakimov cannot. You have way too many squadrons.
Okay. Yeah, MVR, you haven't mentioned that at all.
Manfred, let's be realistic, is a meme.
Oh, I can't wait to hear what Steve's reaction to that is.
I mean, the AP demo was funny, and it will stick across as carriers.
Oh yeah.
But by simply the fact of having AP bombs, you're losing a lot in damage. That's
Okay.
and you're kind of losing the ability to dumpstone DBs as well.
Yeah,
I
some
mean, the AP bombs
yeah.
sometimes can overpen full pen and deal like 2k, but like that's rare.
I also find what was the,
Usually they
the
will
dispersion skill. The dispersion skill for dive bombers, I feel like that's almost necessary on the MBR line, and that's a high level skill.
It is.
Yeah. As much as I enjoy them, I also look at it. It's more of a meme.
But it's more like, what else can you take? You can't take IFAQ because you don't have main guns.
No, but that'd be fun. That would be fun. I hope they eventually add guns to that. But well, let's get back to the Haku. I know this might be contentious to the people listening, but if you could buff one thing that would be a realistic buff to kind of help maybe make the Haku a little bit more meta, what would it be?
Faster planes.
Faster planes, okay.
Because Haku's plane HP is kind of on the low side, but not knocking off low, but it's not that high either.
Okay.
If you give him faster planes, oh god. Imagine a Holland trigger DFA but still die to a Haku top strike. Yeah, that's what's gonna happen.
Okay, never mind. We're gonna remove that question. We're not doing that.
Fine.
No, we're not doing that. Okay, so actually early on in this, you mentioned obviously the Holland, Smallland, Ragnar, probably Worcester along with it. But how do you, as a Haku player, how do you handle those problematic AA ships specifically? What is your thought when you see one alone or even with other people?
Well, AA ships aren't really a factor when you decide which target to pick. It's more like picking the strong flank and the weak flank, and go for the weak flank rather than strong flank. Because you want to brute force the weak flank so your team can push, rather than defending a collapsing. You never defend a collapsing.
Why is that? Why would you not
Simply
want to help
because you
support?
can't.
You just can't. You can't.
Simply because you can't.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes it can work, but like generally no. You want to help the team that's on the strong flank,
Put all the marbles in one
so
basket.
they can actually push.
Okay.
Not really. It's kind of common sense to push the strong. I mean, they will be pushing. The enemy will be pushing their strong flank as well. So why wouldn't you push your strong flank as well?
True. Just kind of add fuel to the fire type of idea. Okay.
And there's one map that is particularly useful in this category. It's Encounter. That map is literally made for this purpose.
Okay.
Because on the if you spawn on the right, you should be pushing them. Because a little map knowledge is also one of the important things when you play carry. Knowing where your enemy will spawn, that's already a huge advantage compared to someone who doesn't know about that.
No, definitely. That definitely would be right, and it's just maps. I heard that commonly actually from a lot of different people that I kind of started talking about this entire CV podcast. You, Steve, Nukes, and such like that. That everyone had like a different thing on maps. Everything was it was about that and how CVs can exploit certain parts of maps. Is there any tip of noticing those exploits that you could give to newer carrier mains, or any suggestions on that type of
Or
knowledge?
like, what kind of situation are there? I can say that.
That's my problem. Is like it's
So
very
like
situational, but
I can give you like when it's an encounter, you
okay.
should probably be moving it early to mid stage because you have to be expecting the enemy at the from your left is going to brute force through. So you want to move to the right, and it's, yeah, that will I think that will be it. And generally you'll be spawning in the middle in most other maps anyway. So it's pretty much depending on which of the flanks is a strong flank for your team, and you want to keep it going there.
This one's a little fun one that I have for all the CV mains. What's your thoughts of a CV in a corner?
Why? Just why? Oh god.
I know, right? Hey, there's
There's
gold in the corner of the map. We all know it. There's gold in the corner. All right, we'll just move on to the next. Yeah, we'll move on to the next one. When pushing in a CV, because I think this is one thing, especially with that joke that we just had. When pushing in a CV, what's your general thoughts on obviously you're managing all your fighters, managing all your bombers, dive bombers. What is your thought on positioning your carrier with your team? Is there any tactical thoughts on that, on how to help people get their CVs more into game rather than sitting at the corner of the map or literally sitting right where they spawned?
Well, as I mentioned, follow the strong flank of your team. Don't. I mean, you can help the collapsing flank, but there's find the time when you have to realize it's not feasible, and withdraw and help out the strong flank instead. You have to find that time.
Okay.
Yes, 414 for the last hub game.
Okay.
That where the GK died. I realized that flank's already gone. I can't really sync that Ohio anyway. So going after him is literally wasting my points. So I decided to switch to the so eventually you can see me at somewhere around 4:30. I switched to the Zao instead because the one's shooting at him. He's in a bad position. And that's why I can strike him.
Might as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good idea.
Generally, you want to focus whatever your team is focusing.
Yeah, especially with the alpha strike of the Haku and the entire
Haku's
line.
top alpha is at least 20k.
I was taking the
if you
target
don't
of it.
The damage reduction is at least 20k.
Now,
basically,
as kind of to wrap it up and kind of the last question, what is your take on the general? I want to say general consensus that carriers are broken or overpowered in World of Warships Blitz.
They kind of are, but at the same time, they aren't.
So why do you say they aren't?
AA is not how it works in PC. You actually stand a chance if you screw up. But Haku is unforgiving if you lost an entire squad.
True with those paper planes.
Yeah, it's not forgiving at all. Like, if you want a forgiving carrier, go play the Malta.
We're seeing the true answer. Just play Malta if you want an easy carrier.
Oh, one more thing about the you always go after DD thing.
Okay.
You can do it at the first strike or maybe the second one if you manage to land any hits. That's kind of a follow-up strike, but you don't want to be focusing these in the entire game. Well, first, you'll be costing yourself your average damage.
Yep.
Which is one of the important indicators of if you're good or not. Not in the area alone, but in any type of shot.
Yeah.
And if you're focusing at DD alone, you're allowing all the other players in the enemy team a chance to push without any air attacks. That's not what you want.
So would you say like a general rule of thumb would be, hey, try twice on just getting one of the DDs or, any DD?
Like
and
if
then
if he's actively attempting to dodge, you might as well go for something else because it's not worth investing that much time into it.
Okay. That's good. I think that's a good way to help teach people kind of grow, because there are some times where I've seen, myself, I've been in the Holland, I've been in my, my stealthier DDs, and it's just like they keep on going after me. I'm like, all right, cool, I'll be the bait. Like, I'm dodging most of your damage, but if you want to keep on coming after me.
Okay, what else?
Yeah, if you have anything else, impart knowledge.
Yeah, target selection. This is one of the most important ones. I almost forgot about this. I've heard many players told me they would go after whoever that's supposedly the greatest threat. I mean, in some situations that is right, but it's more the case that they are in a bad position. Or sometimes they are. For example, even boss can be a threatening position for you because they can spot.
Yeah.
Like in the around 313 for that game, and you probably see there's a Shriven and a Yamato bot.
Okay.
I picked a Yamato bot for a reason because I can actually farm some damage out of it. That's the reason why. And I can't sink the Shriven in time, but I can probably, if I'm lucky with Fires and Floods, the bot Yamato. And at the same time, to run away. And if Schlieffen decides to cap, he's not going to catch up with me.
Okay.
I'm basically as fast as Schlieffen in Haku. And eventually, the Schlieffen actually did. I don't know why he gave up, but okay. And then actually eventually outrun him.
How fast is eventually Haku now? I don't remember that one.
33 knots, if I'm correct.
Yeah, it's clipping along. It's definitely clipping along. Well, Mr. Vime, anything else to add?
Remember, your health exists for a reason. You can take one or two shots. Don't be afraid to kind of push a little bit more aggressively. Yeah, but as soon as you realize you're a bit way too close to overextend, instantly GTFO.
Yeah. Yep. No, carriers actually, I think that is one thing that I learned specifically in the MVR grind was you can push up a good bit and actually help your team. And sometimes mid-game, just poking your head out just a little bit to use your health, people have this shoot me effect on all carriers. It's like you have to eliminate the carrier. So that effect, you can exploit that. Where I've had people literally like, oh my gosh, they're going to kill this person. I pop up, they immediately change over and go shoot me. I'm like, you could have literally killed this person.
I know, right?
So you can use your health for that. It's an absolute truth when playing CVs.
Yeah, but know what you can take and you can't take because
and also don't.
You have to assume every one of their stuff will be a sick crisis.
Yeah. Yep.
That's how you can come up with the idea of can I get a little bit closer or do I have to run?
Yeah.
You can see in that 129 King Haku game, I keep weaving in and out with into the Schlieffen. Sometimes I get detected and take a few shots, but I'm okay. I'm okay with it.
Yep. Because also you're very close, so your reload on your planes, getting them back,
Yeah,
everything like that is really
you-
quick and easy. So you increase your damage as well.
Yeah, that's one of the ways to farm high damage. It will be risky. It will be risky, but it's definitely rewarding.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, and also don't double throttle forward the moment the game starts. Only do like half throttle. That's gotten me in trouble more often than I want to admit.
I would say you don't move that until like you scouted everything. You clearly know what is going on in the battlefield.
Okay.
Then you can pick your flank because you have all the intel from your spotting.
True. Very, very true. I think that's probably it. Thank you, Mr. Mime, for joining us and talking to us about the entire Haku line and CVs in general. Mr. Mime does actually have a channel of his own. Go give him some love. I'll have the link, of course, in the title. Oh. And don't forget to like and subscribe here as well. It helps support the channel. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Once again, thank you for taking the time for joining us, Mr. Mime.
No problem, mate.
And if you have been personally violated by Mr. Mime, let us know in the comment section down below. If you have been harmed by CVs, in the comment section down below, let us know what your thoughts on this is. Let me know what your thoughts on the podcast are entirely. And of course, if this helped you learn anything at all, I definitely am trying to make this informational and encourage people to learn how to actually play, because I'm getting sick of playing with CVs that don't know how to play anything at all. Okay. It's always the worst part when you have a bad CV in your player. Oh, God. But, everyone, have a great day, everyone. Peace.
避難した。我々のチームが勝ちそうだ。